Hey everyone, it's Mark Skipper Mark, and today we are in New London at the Thames River. And our goal is to head out to Mystic Seaport area. Check that out. We'll have to go out into the ocean for 4 or 5 miles and then head up the Mystic River and then explore that area and then come back and explore the Thames River area. The launch is located underneath the Gold Star Bridge in New London, which is located in the southeastern part of the state, about 4 miles upriver from the ocean. There's construction on the bridge above, but the ramp is still open. The ramp across the river in Groton is closed, however. The ramp is wide and is in good shape, and it has room for multiple vehicles. Parking is decent, but the lot isn't huge. The good thing with the weather today is the wind is coming from the north, so if we stay close to the shoreline it should be pretty good. It's worse when it comes from the south and comes all the way across the sound, and then you get battered and beat up. Completely airborne! Yeah. Like way up! You're big! What? You're big! Yeah! You're like a foot out of water! Yeah! What? Mommy says she would like to try that! Hey, you wanna come on? No! Are you doing okay, Nins? Okay, we're almost there. Here we are, 3 miles!
We're almost there, but we're not.
We've already gone 10 of the 12 miles.
What's up there?
That's Mystic Seaport.
Okay, that's where we're going.
It is. We're going to go in and bang a left. Okay. You ready? I guess so. This here is the entrance to Mystic Harbor. It's pretty busy, but it's pretty. How you doing, Nance? You having an okay time? You sound really thrilled. The ride through Mystic Harbor was very pretty, but it was also very slow. It's about 4 miles long, and most of it is no wake zone with the exception of an area that's maybe a half a mile long. So you do the math. 4-mile distance, 4 to 5 miles an hour for the no wake zone, and it's roughly an hour to get through the whole entire area. Time to check in on Nancy. How you doing back there, Nancy?
Good.
Time to check in on Matt. Nordic tugs. While we were there, we got to see the Drawbridge open, which is always exciting. Nancy and Matt wanted to take a break and stretch their legs and walk around a bit. There wasn't enough room for me at the dock, so I just stayed in the river. We wanted to check out Mystic Seaport and were able to fit under the bridge while it was closed. It's a steel-grated bridge, and it was kind of cool to see the cars driving overhead as we passed underneath. These motorized surfboard things are becoming very, very popular. I don't know what ship this is, but it sure could use a paint job. This ship is way too modern to be a Viking ship, but it reminds me of something Ragnar Lothbrok would have sailed on. Sometimes yachts like this 34-meter Westport Double Eagle also dock at the seaport. Some boats like the Breck Marshall sailboat and the Sabino are used for tourists. The 100-year-old Roseway was just recently restored and put back into the water. The Brilliant is a schooner and a training vessel. In the summer, it's used for multi-day youth programs to teach young people about sailing. It also has adult sailing programs that range from 1 day to multi-day and cover sailors of all experience levels. Mystic Seaport is an historic museum as well as a working seaport that is one of the leading builders and restorers of old historic type boats. They've rebuilt replicas of historic ships like the slave ship Amistad and have restored ships like the whaling ship the Charles W. Morgan. This is the Joseph Conrad, which was built in Copenhagen in 1882. And then this here is the Charles W. Morgan, which is one of the seaport's most popular attractions, along with the historic Amistad. There's also a firefighting ship on display. And of course the Amistad, which when it's not on tour is very, very popular. And they even have one of the famous Miss Budweiser hydroplane boats. Sailing is a very big part of the seaport, and they have a lot of training boats available. I'll post a link in the description to their website where you can get more info. It's a little higher up now. The tide had risen a little since we first came under the bridge, but we were still able to make it out again. This ship is Little Vigilant, which is available for charter. I'll also provide a link to that in the description. I'm going to that boat. I want to get a video of it. I like the color. This is the main part of the Mystic River where the tourists go. It's about 3/4 of a mile from the northern end of the Mystic Seaport to the railroad bridge that enters the Mystic Harbor. The bridge was actually closing when we were there, but it took forever, like a long time, like several minutes, and it was really boring, so I'm only going to just show a snippet of it closing. When we got out into the Mystic Harbor, we knew that the wind had picked up and was blowing stronger than the forecast had called for. The area is relatively small, but the waves were kind of big, and we kept getting splashed nonstop by every one of them. When we left, the weather called for winds out of the north at about 10 miles an hour with gusts to 12, but as we made our way across the harbor, they seemed to be a lot stronger than that to me. As we approached the open water, my suspicions were confirmed. We were greeted by 3 to 4 foot waves, with many of them starting to break and form into large whitecaps. Unfortunately, the wide angle of the GoPro makes it difficult to tell how tall the waves truly were, but they were really tall. I didn't want to check the weather while we were out there because Nancy doesn't like the rough conditions, but when we got home I checked my favorite weather site, windfinder.com, and sure enough, it had shown that around noon, the wind had actually changed from the north to the south and then to the west, and it went from 8 to 10 miles an hour to 22 with gusts up to 25. It was definitely windier and rougher than we anticipated, but the WaveRunners handled it amazingly well. We got wet from the spray, but other than the ride being a little rough, we had no problems getting back. The water might have been rough, but that didn't stop Matt from zooming all around as fast as his WaveRunner would take him. I'm older and my body aches if I do that kind of riding for too long, and Nancy doesn't really enjoy the boat, but she's an amazing trooper to go out with us every weekend. I wish the videos showed the way the water really looked because it was very rough. A guy in a boat actually asked us what we were doing out. He said we were crazy. After a while, the up and down pounding from the waves got tiring, so I gave it more gas and went faster. The ride was drier and we bounced less, but the pounding on each wave was harder and my hands got numb from holding on so tightly. Eventually we made it back to the river and we could go relatively fast on the flatter water. Nancy had had enough for the day, so we dropped her off at the dock to go and relax in the car, and Matt and I zoomed north to head to Norwich and explore the Thames River. Unfortunately, there was some kind of a rowing regatta going on, and they shut down the river for about 20 minutes. Of course, it rained on us while we waited to get going. Big rainstorm here. They're having a race of, I don't know what they are, rowboats or something, and they won't let us go anywhere. So we're just sitting out here in the rain with nowhere to go. Once cleared, we had a fun time zooming upstream and winding around the sharp turns of the river. On the way, we passed the Navy sub base, which was guarded by the Coast Guard and Navy ships, which we thought was kind of cool. We also passed the Mohegan Sun Casino, which is located on the river. And we came to an old abandoned city. Complete with abandoned boats. This was one of the highlights of the trip, but of course it wasn't an abandoned city. It was just several buildings, but it was still really cool to see. We eventually made it to the downtown Norwich area where the navigable part of the river ends, but we didn't see any reason to go further since we could see the end of the river from where we were. We made it back through the no-wake zone and then gave it full throttle as we made our way back towards the abandoned city. We stopped for a couple more photos and then continued on past the Mohegan Sun and went back to the middle and lower part of the river. Unfortunately, a patrol boat stopped us again, and we had to wait another 20 minutes while the boats raced.
Not much.
What's that?
Trying to go all the way up?
Yeah, we're trying to get down to the bridge.
Alright, they got the race going on right now. You gotta wait.
Okay, how long will it be?
They are right there, right? I mean, there's a whole line of them coming up down the river.
Okay.
Alright, probably another 15 minutes. I don't know what they're rolling, so.
Sounds good.
Alright?
Thanks.
As long as you stay on this side of that red marker, we're good, and I'll give you a thumbs up, alright?
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
All this waiting made me wonder if we'd get back to the docks before sunset when PWCs have to be off the water. Thankfully, we were cleared to go and put the hammer down again and headed toward the docks. But after looking at the clouds and seeing that the sun was actually starting to come out, we decided to stay out a little longer. As we approached the mouth of the river, it was a lot calmer than it had been earlier in the day, so we decided to head out to the Ledge Lighthouse in New London and get some photos with the sun setting on it. By now the wind had calmed down a lot and we were able to go at a pretty good pace, though full throttle was still a little too rough for me. After getting some photos and videos, we headed back to the ramp, which was looking very pretty, with the sun setting on the bridge and providing really nice light on the pillars. Back one more time. I gotta try to hit 54. Okay. I only hit 53. Matt went and got the Jeep while I bobbed in the water and watched a bunch of people race back and forth in front of the dock on their PWC while totally ignoring the no-wake zone and the fact that we were trying to put ours onto a trailer. Overall, though, we got the boats on without any issue and decided to head to Taco Bell and grab a bite. All right, so we are done with the ocean and the river today. We had a great time. Well, I did and Matt did. Nancy, not so much because it was really rough coming back. We had fun exploring the Thames River. That was kind of cool. I enjoyed finding that abandoned city area. That was sort of cool as well. But now we're going to take out the boats. I see Matt pulling into the water, and we're going to call it a day. thanks for watching and have a great day. And if you have any questions, please leave a message in the comments and I'll be happy to answer. I'm going to keep recording just so I can get me loading up the jet ski here. I'm going to do it from the front camera though, because it's hard to drive and hold this phone at the same time, or camera at the same time.